Welcome to another wonderful episode of Culture Blitz here on MisfitTV. With me, as always, I have my special guests, Jake and Jay. What's up, guys?
What's up, bro?
So, how's it going?
Good, good. Crazy week 3. And there's also some news that came out today that we were just informed about that I want to get right into. About the Tennessee Titans pretty much reported their first COVID outbreak of the season. And I was looking into it, and it was like at least 8 of the people from the team, including staff and players, were confirmed, like tested positive for the coronavirus. And the Titans closed down they're not having any in-person activities and stuff as of right now, like until further notice type of thing. So with that being said, crazy week, just finished week 3, going into week 4. What does this mean for the NFL 3 weeks into the season? And do you think that they will postpone the season or keep it going? I'm gonna go ahead and start with Jake.
If I'm the NFL, I'm nervous because you saw, like, they're obviously not in a bubble like the NBA, but they can't necessarily follow the same model of the MLB because the MLB had like a 60-game season where one postponed game didn't mean that the standings were completely messed up. But the NFL has a 16-game schedule. So if you play one less game, that's big because you play one game a week. And so it's going to be detrimental if, like, let's say the Titans finish at like 10-5 and another team is 10-6. Well, how do you judge that? Because the Titans would technically have a better win percentage because they have less losses, but they have the same number of wins. They just had COVID, and so they couldn't play a game. So I would hope that the NFL has something figured out about how to do this. I also think that it's concerning that they are not able to practice at all this week because purely from a physical standpoint, it's a little worrisome if you play a game, you go the entire week without doing anything or any practices. Like, a lot of the guys can probably work out at home, but it's nervous for physical health and injuries to see you go from game to no practice, no real like recovery, like physical recovery, and then right back into games. The NFL has said they want to play this game. I obviously hope they can, but I think it's gonna get dicey in the next week, especially with like what this kind of means for the future games in the coming weeks and months.
I mean, for me, I'm gonna just be honest. Like the crazy Steelers fan in me is like, does this count as a dub? Like, like if they can't play, like, can I get that? Because I'd like the dub automatically if I could get it. But no, in all seriousness though, like my biggest thing from it bounces off of a lot of what Jake was saying about procedurally, just like if they're even prepared for this. Obviously, like you said beforehand, it's a lot of news saying that they plan to still play the game, but like I don't know. I wouldn't even feel right if we got the dub. Hopefully we don't lose, obviously, because at the end of the day, we still are in the position to prepare for them, despite the fact that they may not be able to prepare for us to the degree that they would normally be able to on a 7-game, 6-day schedule to prepare. But my main thing overall is just like, Tony, you put it out in the street, and like we're hoping it doesn't even get that far. It's like, dang, 3 weeks in and we're already worrying about potential cancellations and postponings. Like, you would hope that it doesn't have to come that far because of one team's circumstances. It's tough because this is nothing to play around with, and we all understand the circumstances of what's going on. I think bigger than anything, this is going to have an impact on the whole fans in the stadium thing. If you've noticed over the league, there's been a couple of teams that's flirted with letting teams bring friends and family. A lot of stadiums have been just completely abandoned altogether, and maybe have just had like cardboard cutouts of like famous people and stuff to kind of just like hold it down.
The South Park cast.
Yeah. Yeah, like stuff like that to kind of just like, hold it down. But it's like, at the end of the day, like in terms of live fans and stuff like that, I think if anybody had a trajectory in terms of their teams bringing in fans, they slighted that back at least a week or two just because of this incident by itself. So from a business standpoint, it also puts them, the NFL as a whole, back a little bit. So I think my biggest takeaway is just like, yo, what's the play? Because you can't do this one wrong, because if anything else happens moving forward, it's going to be viewed as a snowball effect of whatever your initial reactions and decisions are to this particular team having this incident. So it's time to wake up for the NFL to address this head on. Otherwise, if they sleepwalk into week 4 with this on their head, if it gets worse, we know where it all stemmed from. Easy.
Like Jake said, it is a scary situation, and we're just 3 weeks in. And if you guys have been keeping up with us, we've been talking about this like even before the season started. Like, what do we think is going to happen going into the season, and how COVID's affecting everything. The biggest concern for me is just how it's going to affect. I mean, not even just the Titans and the team that they're going to be possibly playing or whatever, but how's it going to affect the other 30 teams in the NFL. You know what I mean? So it is an effect that can go around, obviously, with as bad as, this whole COVID situation is. But it's just one of those things we got to keep our eyes on. But into our next topic, and that is our fantasy score update. So this week was crazy. I was eyeballing Jay's score. No, I'm sorry. I was eyeballing Jake's score the whole time because he has Tyreek Hill. So like we're gonna go ahead and get into the place. So in third place we got my man Jay with 132 points. Jake coming in second with 10 more at 142, and then me coming in first finally at 179 points. It's kind of cool that we all each out of all 3 weeks we each won a game. So it's kind of crazy like what's gonna happen going forward, because we each got a dub under our belt. But I'm gonna go ahead and start with Jay. So how you feeling about this week fantasy?
Bro, so honestly, I mean, I feel okay. If I'm gonna be honest, coming off of week 3, I just have to say that like I felt like my team was holding it down for the circumstances that took place. I actually had Jake until last night, and then Tyreek Hill is what propelled him to second place, which I honestly anticipated because it just looked like it was gonna be that type of night. And it was crazy overall. But I will point out a couple things that I have to address regarding my team. Deontay Johnson went out with a concussion against Houston, and that hurt me big. That was a wide receiver after week 2 that I saw kind of identified for my Steelers team and said, like, he's a secondary wide receiver. I don't have Juju Smith-Schuster, but this guy is a second option with a lot less coverage on him, a lot of one-on-one coverage. He's thriving, and he did pretty well in week 2 in terms of fantasy points. I think he had like 21 points that week. And unfortunately, him getting hurt, it really hurt me. The other thing is Vegas getting love tapped by New England hurt my score overall, because 2 of my starters are Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller. And I mean, it was like a combined, like 12 points from them pretty much was what I got from the 2 of them. 9.3 from Josh Jacobs, 2.9 from Darren Waller. So, I mean, pretty much putting them on lock messed my whole score up after coming off of a week where both of them played a huge role in the dub. So in Josh Allen we trust. That boy Tyler Lockett woke up for me, and golly, he was giving you some points too, Tony. But look, I'll live with 37 points on my side if Russ is gonna give my man the rock. And then Tony, you said it last episode, and I'm gonna kind of ride off of this too, is Calvin Ridley is my most consistent player outside of Josh Allen. And if I can get that, look, I hate that the goddamn Falcons keep losing. I hate that they keep blowing games, and it's kind of sick to watch when you have 2 dynamic wide receivers like Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. But shoot, if Calvin gonna give me these type of points, I don't care what the scoreboard look at the end, as long as this man gets a touchdown under his belt. So rough week, but I gotta go to the drawing board. I got some guys that I gotta take a look at.
Yeah, if anyone wants to help my man Jay out, he needs a tight end. So
Yeah,
go ahead
bro.
and comment, give my man some tips, help him out. You know what I mean? Some of your key players, like you mentioned, was Josh Allen. My man's gave you 31 points, 300 plus yards. Nick Chubb gave you 24 points. Tyler Lockett gave you 37. So man, you went crazy. I can say that though.
Definitely top heavy.
Jake, you coming in the second with the 142. So how you feeling about that? You were in, I think you were in third at a point, and then you just kind of went like this over Jay. The next thing you know, I was getting kind of worried. So how you feeling?
I mean, I'm feeling all right about this week. I'm more nervous about next week when we have the Titans versus Steelers because my top two running backs are James Conner and Derrick Henry, both who might not play next week if there is no game, which would leave me with like Miles Sanders and Aaron Jones, which is not a bad combination, but I'd rather have Derrick Henry out there, especially after he got me 27 points. He finally scored not one but two touchdowns against Minnesota after not scoring any in the first 2 weeks. And then he got close to 120 rushing yards. So it was really good to see him back. And I hope he can play next week.
All right, and then some of your key players, man, you did pretty good. You got Tom Brady, with 23 points. I mean, I could say he's been pretty consistent for you, the past few weeks. I could say, Tyreek Hill with 21 points. He's been consistent for you, and like you said, Derrick Henry with 27 points, and then he gave you 2 touchdowns as well. So it looks like he's starting to get back to his form. But with the whole concern, we'll see what happens. Going into week 4. And then finally, I placed first with 179 points. This is pretty crazy. I'm just glad I got at least one win under my belt because Jay took it away in week 1, and then Jake went crazy in week 2. Russell Wilson gave me 36 points. That man threw 5 touchdowns. That was just like it would have been 6, but the whole DK Metcalf thing. We ain't gonna get into that. And then Austin Eckler with 31 points. And then me and Jake talked about this a little bit before we started. The Colts defense, man, they hooked me up with 27 points. That was just crazy. They've been consistent for me. So that's
Bro, I saw a stat that afternoon that said that Indianapolis's defense ranked top 10 in fantasy points overall, like on the scale in terms of points that afternoon. Like, regardless of the player, quarterback, wide receiver, whatever the case, Indy's defense would have been in the top 10 or was in the top 10 in terms of fantasy points in week 3. Like, that's like some historically crazy stuff, bro. Like, I get it's the Jets, but golly, that's a lot of fantasy points to get out
right.
of a team that, I mean, honestly, we haven't really talked about their defense a ton. So, I mean, that's like a sniper pick on you to like identify them. But I mean, hey, you got a lot of help from the Jets. So take the dub, bro. That's historic numbers right there.
Yo
For
said
real.
that. Okay. Well, I'm gonna just ride this wave I'm on right now, and I'm definitely gonna continue my streak.
Hey, yo.
So we're gonna go ahead and get into the primetime predictions and scores for week 4. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the Broncos and Jets on Thursday. Jake, who you got?
I mean, I actually got to go. I would think it's an upset, and I'm going with the Jets. I think not having Drew Lock and Denver had to name a new starting QB this week. Not even Jake Driscoll, who they brought in after Lock got injured in week 2. But they announced that some other guy is their starter, who I honestly have never heard of, and I think the Broncos, this is a team that's been decimated by injuries on defense. I think Jarrell Casey is going to be out for an extended period of time. They already have been without Von Miller, so I think the Jets could sneak away with the win here. I don't think it's going to be very high scoring at all. So I'm going to say maybe like 14-10.
Not bad. What you got, Jay?
I don't know, Jake. You kind of sold me on that Jets thing. I didn't know that Jeff Driscoll wouldn't be playing. And I mean, not that he's played relatively well, but like he stirs the ship. I guess this is the game where Sam Darnold gets it right. He gets to bounce back from like a really tough loss and wake up against a defense that's not, very strapped. I mean, like super injured. I mean, it's rough. So I guess I got to go with the Jets too, but I'm going to go like 21-14. I think they can hang 20 on them, 21 on the Broncos defense. And I just don't think the Broncos, I feel like one of those touchdowns from the Broncos, just because I know who Sam Darnold is, one of those touchdowns from the Broncos is going to be defensively, whether it's like a scoop and score or just like a short field touchdown, maybe off of a pick or something. But I still feel like the Jets should be able to hold off this Broncos team if they're down to their third string quarterback. And on top of that, their defense is decimated, lost Cortland Sutton. Like, I just feel like this is the Jets' chance to bounce back from like a really rough loss against Indianapolis. So I'm going to go with the Jets 21-14.
This is one of them games that I'm kind of unsure about. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the switcheroo on both of y'all, and I'm going to go with the Broncos on this one. Don't really know why, but I'm going to just go ahead and go with the score anyway. I think it will be 14-18 Broncos.
Sounds like a Broncos versus Jets kind of score. I ain't going to lie,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah. I have some great points I want to bring up. So we got the Eagles versus the 49ers. Jake, start that one.
I mean, I don't know. I honestly, I mean, it pains me to say this, but I think the Niners have enough injuries that the Eagles could win. But I thought that against the Bengals, and they tied. So I got to go with the Niners. I hate to do it because I am an Eagles fan, but I just don't see – I mean, I'm still waiting for Wentz to either get out of his slump or you name it. I have no idea. I mean, the 49ers are decimated by injuries, but, I mean, they wrecked the Giants. And we're only half a game better than the Giants in the division. And so I think the Niners will take this one. And if I had to pick a score, I'd say it'll be like 17-14.
I can rock with that. Jay, what you got, bro?
Man, Jake, I'm about to pour salt in the wound, bro. I'm picking the 49ers too, and all I'm going to say is you was talking all that junk about Carson Wentz being better than Dak Prescott. This season is not making you look like an intelligent man, my guy. I'm just telling you right now. Look, Dak ain't got no real W's under his belt either. I ain't going to lie. It took the grace of God to beat the Falcons. But he didn't still have some really good offensive outputs. This man, Carson Wentz, on the other hand, he's about one interception away from your quarterback being Jalen Hurts for the rest of the year. That's all I'm going to say on that. When it comes to this game, I'm going to pick the 49ers too, but mainly because I feel like Chris Mullins has at least one more Joe Montana come to Jesus moment after what he did last week and maybe gets a couple of touchdowns on the Eagles. I'm going to go like, I don't know, because the Eagles are kind of dangerous in the first half. So I'm going to go with like 24-21, and the Eagles kind of like blow it late third quarter, and it kind of just starts leaning in the 49ers' favor. So, yeah, 24-21, 49ers.
The Eagles, kind of confused what's going on with them right now. I mean, but the thing is when they are playing, they are trying to hang in there. So I see that they are trying for sure. But the thing is, the reason why I'm going to choose the 49ers is because, like you said, Jake, when they played the Giants and even the Jets and stuff like that, I thought like, oh, or after they played the Jets after all the injuries and they played the Giants, I was like, oh, they're going to lose. They lost all these key players like Raheem Mostert, Tevin Coleman, George Kittle, and even Jimmy G. Like lost all those players, and I was like, oh, they're not gonna win, and they ended up like doing really well. So, I mean, and that probably has something to do with the coaching as well. So, overall, you know, realistically, the better team is the 49ers. So I would have to go with them, and I would say the score would be 24-21.
Dicey game, bro.
Yeah, it's one of those uh-ohs. So then we got the Monday night game. We got the Falcons and the Packers. Jay, go ahead. Who you got?
If there was any time for Jake to flip the script on me after I talk crap about the Eagles, this would be the one.
I'm sure he's gonna get you.
Yeah. Honestly, the Falcons have been making me just so upset, bro. Because like you see how potent the offense is. You see that they can put points up in a hurry, and like most of the point spreads that they've put up as of late are like that's a winning point total. Like we talked about it last week, and I'm going into it this week too. Like this is just starting to not make any sense, bro. Like you can't be getting buckets like this and have these two type of top notch wide receivers and not be able to close games. It's like ever since the Super Bowl, the only thing they know how to do is blow a lead. Like it's starting to get a little sickening. I ain't gonna lie. And then you throw on top of that the Packers are like one of the most efficient offenses in the league right now. Aaron Rodgers is low key on the MVP ballot, regardless of what the numbers may indicate. With Russell Wilson and obviously probably Patrick Mahomes right now being like at the top of that list. I got the Packers in a crazy shootout game because I'm not going to count the Falcons off of not being able to get points. I feel like that's not their issue. Their issue is closing games. So I think it's going to be like, I don't know, man, like 36-31 in favor of the Packers. And it's just going to be a shootout that Aaron Rodgers knows how to close games better than I feel like Matt Ryan and the Falcons do. And I feel like the Packers have a chance to get one more touchdown than the Falcons do, which they're completely used to so far this season. And the Packers like notch it out. So yeah, I'll go with the Packers, like what I say, 36-31.
Falcons or Packers, Jake, who you got?
The Falcons have blown leads the past 2 weeks, but there will not be any lead for them to blow. This is going to be a game dominated by the Packers from the beginning to the end, kind of like how we saw with the Chiefs-Ravens game, where maybe for a little bit in the first half you think the Ravens might be able to pull off a comeback, and then the Chiefs just reminded them who they were. I'm going 38-21. I think Atlanta is going to be able to put up some points, but I just don't think they have the weapons to stop Aaron Rodgers, especially with their first round pick. I think his name's AJ Terrell, cornerback. He was just placed on the COVID list. He was not able to play this past week against the Bears, so I would assume he's going to be out for Monday's game as well. And if he plays by some chance, I don't think he's going to be in shape coming off of COVID. So I think it'll be a very high scoring game. So I'm going Packers 38-21.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you guys both of y'all brought up a lot of great points. I'm not even a Falcons fan, and it's just frustrating me how they're putting up all these points and just blowing the lead like that. So it's like it's just kind of like what's going on there right now. They'll be able to put up points. I don't think that, like Jake said, I don't think they'll take the lead either. It does bring up deja vu for me that I don't even want to talk about right now with the Chiefs and the Ravens. So like the Packers are a high powered offense right now, and Aaron Rodgers is on fire. So, you can't really go against that man. But without Devontae Adams, he's still able to get the ball out there. So I'm gonna go with the Packers. I don't think the Falcons will get close to them or end up having the lead unless it's like very early in the first quarter. So I see it being, I would say, 30-20.
You never know.
But
Falcons might wake up, but I think the Packers just gonna keep them down to earth.
Yeah, there's just something about them Falcons right now. I'm a little confused. Anyway, I think we're all confused about our teams a little bit right now.
Hey man,
not even gonna lie. So, question of the day: which primetime game do you think is going to be the better matchup in Week 4? And then also, with me, Jay, and Jake both having a win under our belt into fantasy, who do you think will take the edge going into Week 4? Like, comment, subscribe, comment below, and let us know what you think. For Jake and Jay, I'm Tony. This is Coach Blitz. Catch you next time.
peace.